Let's practice IELTS vocabulary together.
Episodic.
Episodic.
Shaft.
Shaft.
Patronage.
Patron.
Bulletin.
Bulletin.
Trait.
Trait.
Prop.
Prop.
Inactive.
Inactive.
Dise.
Dece.
Ashore.
Ashore.
Oppressive.
Oppressive.
Episodic. Shaft. Patronage. Bulletin. Trait. Prop. Inactive. Dise. Ashore. Oppressive. Comply.
Comply.
Flaw.
Flaw.
Comrade.
Comrade.
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen.
Haughty.
Haughty.
Abide.
Abide.
Consistent.
Consistency.
Usage.
Usage.
Tangular.
Rectangular.
Proceed.
Proceed.
Comply. Flaw. Comrade. Hydrogen. Haughty. Abide. Consistent. Usage. Tangular. Proceed. Disciple.
Disciple.
Equate.
Equate.
Illiterate.
Illiterate.
Handwriting.
Handwriting.
Temperate.
Temperate.
Subordinate.
Subordinate.
Hierarchy.
Hierarchy.
Artifact.
Artifact.
Scoop.
Scoop.
Arbitrary.
Arbitrary.
Disciple. Equate. Illiterate. Handwriting. Temperate. Subordinate. Hierarchy. Artifact. Scoop. Arbitrary. Brute.
Brute.
Procure.
Procure.
Regimen.
Regimen.
Discard.
Discard.
Dazzle.
Dazzle.
Interbreed.
Interbreed.
Hailstone.
Hailstone.
Discriminate.
Discriminate.
Solemn.
Solemn.
Resistant.
Resistant.
Brute. Procure. Regimen. Discard. Dazzle. Interbreed. Hailstone. Discriminate. Solemn. Resistant. Fanatic.
Fanatic.
Populate.
Populate.
Intuition.
Intuition.
Novelty.
Novelty.
Squander.
Squander.
Fabricate.
Fabricate.
Accelerate.
Accelerate.
Allocate.
Allocate.
Generalization.
Generalization.
Scholarly.
Scholarly.
Fanatic. Populate. Intuition. Novelty. Squander. Fabricate. Accelerate. Allocate. Generalization. Scholarly. Edible.
Edible.
Conjunction.
Conjunction.
Hurdle.
Hurdle.
Transcript.
Transcript.
Overlap.
Overlap.
Livelihood.
Livelihood.
Hindrance.
Hindrance.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
Likelihood.
Likelihood.
Warehouse.
Warehouse.
edible, conjunction, hurdle, transcript, overlap, livelihood, hindrance, supposedly, likelihood, warehouse, intrusion,
intrusion,
submerge,
submerge,
bachelor,
bachelor,
blink,
blink,
cone,
cone,
convert,
converse,
repel,
repel,
plea,
plea,
immerse,
immerse,
invaluable,
invaluable,
intrusion, submerge, bachelor, blink, cone, convert, repel, plea, immerse, invaluable, bedrock,
bedrock,
unified, informative,
informative,
brew,
brew,
fertility,
fertility,
compile,
compile,
mandatory,
mandatory,
unpredictable,
unpredictable,
prescribe,
prescribe,
timber,
timber,
bedrock, unified, informative, brew, fertility, compile, mandatory, unpredictable, prescribe, timber, correlation,
correlation,
pupa,
pupa,
inhibit,
inhibit,
tramp,
tramp,
distract,
distract,
marketable,
marketable,
sizable,
sizable, marginal,
devour,
devour,
corpse,
corpse,
correlation, pupa, inhibit, tramp, distract, marketable, sizable, devour, corpse, spout,
spouse,
drastic,
drastic,
street,
forestry,
epidemic,
epidemic,
enlist,
enlist,
spine,
spine,
dismissal,
dismissal,
hemisphere,
hemisphere,
realism,
realism,
depict,
depict,
spout, drastic, street, epidemic, enlist, spine, dismissal, hemisphere, realism, depict, quota,
quota,
batch,
batch,
ecology,
ecology,
propel,
propel,
admittedly,
admittedly,
segment,
segment,
fringe,
fringe,
folklore,
folklore,
apprentice,
apprentice,
willow,
willow,
quota, batch, ecology, propel, admittedly, segment, fringe, folklore, apprentice, willow, cling,
cling,
battlefield,
battlefield,
pottery,
pottery,
interface,
interface,
dependency,
dependency,
innumerable,
innumerable,
circulate,
circulate,
breakwater,
breakwater,
periodical,
periodical,
vaccine,
vaccine,
cling, battlefield, pottery, interface, dependency, innumerable, circulate, breakwater, periodical, vaccine, recreate,
recreate,
intestine,
intestine,
conquer,
concur,
auditorium,
auditorium,
jubilant,
jubilant,
bizarre,
bizarre,
consonant,
consonant,
formulate,
formulate,
impulsive,
impulsive,
juvenile,
juvenile,
recreate, intestine, conquer, auditorium, jubilant, bizarre, consonant, formulate, impulsive, juvenile, coil,
coil,
foe,
foe,
brazen,
brazen,
barren,
barren,
manifest, negligent,
negligence,
imagery,
imagery,
dictate,
dictate,
minimize,
minimize,
clan,
clan,
coil, foe, brazen, barren, manifest, negligent, imagery, dictate, minimize, clan, invariably,
invariably,
managerial,
managerial,
transfusion,
transfusion,
empathy,
empathy,
prefrontal,
prefrontal,
customary,
customary,
bearing,
bearing,
adolescent,
adolescent,
indignity,
indignity,
documentation,
documentation,
invariably, managerial, transfusion, empathy, prefrontal, customary, bearing, adolescent, indignity, documentation, compatible,
compatible,
conspicuous,
conspicuous,
menace,
menace,
diplomacy,
diplomacy,
contend,
contend,
ranch,
ranch,
ripple,
ripple,
contagious,
contagious,
wingspan,
wingspan,
pharmacist,
pharmacist,
compatible, conspicuous, menace, diplomacy, contend, ranch, ripple, contagious, wingspan, pharmacist, genetic,
genetic,
descriptive,
descriptive,
unparalleled,
unparalleled,
recurrent,
recurrent,
bosom,
bosom,
extinct,
extinct,
occurrence,
occurrence,
catastrophe,
catastrophe,
sensual,
sensual,
impair,
impair,
genetic, descriptive, unparalleled, recurrent, bosom, extinct, occurrence, catastrophe, sensual, impair, peripheral,
peripheral,
marsh,
marsh,
apathy,
apathy,
stealth,
stealth,
crusade,
crusade,
mediocre,
mediocre,
recollection,
recollection,
majestic,
majestic,
testament,
testament,
ascribe,
ascribe,
peripheral, marsh, apathy, stealth, xade, mediocre, recollection, majestic, testament, ascribe, intelligible,
intelligible,
projection,
projection,
broaden,
broaden,
trench,
trench,
traverse,
traverse,
displace,
display,
canary,
canary,
frugal,
frugal,
livestock,
livestock,
conjecture,
conjecture,
intelligible, projection, broaden, trench, traverse, displace, canary, frugal, livestock, conjecture, opt,
opt,
dispense,
dispense,
alumnus,
alumna,
reroute,
reroute,
encyclopedia,
encyclopedia,
thesis,
thesis,
halva,
halva,
frightful,
frightful,
proliferation,
proliferation,
spontaneous,
spontaneous,
opt, dispense, alumnus, reroute, encyclopedia, thesis, halva, frightful, proliferation, spontaneous, factual,
factual,
superficial,
superficial,
arise,
arise,
psyche,
psyche,
abusive,
abusive,
distort,
distort,
arc,
arc,
monotonous,
monotonous,
nourish,
nourish,
flush,
flush,
factual, superficial, arise, psyche, abusive, distort, arc, monotonous, nourish, flush, liberalism,
liberalism,
text,
textile,
advocate,
advocate,
entity,
entity,
hurl,
hurl,
eminent,
eminent,
excel,
excel,
enrage,
enrage,
settler,
settler,
mainstream,
mainstream,
liberalism, text, advocate, entity, hurl, eminent, excel, enrage, settler, mainstream, meditation,
meditation,
trolley,
trolley,
deem,
deem,
advantageous,
advantageous,
fragile,
fragile,
aquaculture,
aquaculture,
intake,
intake,
aviation,
aviation,
adversity,
adversity,
enrich,
enrich,
meditation, trolley, deem, advantageous, fragile, aquaculture, intake, aviation, adversity, enrich, commute,
commute,
sergeant,
sergeant,
syndrome,
syndrome,
social,
socialite,
exhaustive,
exhaustive,
abound,
abound,
discreet,
discreet,
pitiful,
pitiful,
elude,
elude,
knowledgeable,
knowledgeable,
commute, sergeant, syndrome, social, exhaustive, abound, discreet, pitiful, elude, knowledgeable, feasible,
feasible,
archaic,
archaic,
drawback,
drawback,
magnif,
magnif,
definitive,
definitive,
offset,
offset,
tram,
tram,
ferment,
ferment,
recipient,
recipient,
contributor,
contributor,
feasible, archaic, drawback, magnif, definitive, offset, tram, ferment, recipient, contributor, commentary,
commentary,
scrutiny,
scrutiny,
tariff,
tariff,
hive,
hive,
fishery,
fishery,
shipment,
shipment,
inject,
inject,
enforce,
enforce,
potentially,
potentially,
relish,
relish,
commentary, scrutiny, tariff, hive, fishery, shipment, inject, enforce, potentially, relish, negotiable,
negotiable,
proficiency,
proficiency,
thrive,
thrive,
comprise,
comprise,
reinforce,
reinforce,
landmark,
landmark,
ascertain, consecutive,
consecutive,
symbolism,
symbolism,
harness,
harness,
negotiable, proficiency, thrive, comprise, reinforce, landmark, ascertain, consecutive, symbolism, harness, lapse,
lapse,
perseverance,
perseverance,
decided,
decided,
prevalent,
prevalent,
focal,
focal,
riot,
riot,
trigger,
trigger,
photosynthesis,
photosynthesis,
liberate,
liberate,
mobile,
mobile,
lapse, perseverance, decided, prevalent, focal, riot, trigger, photosynthesis, liberate, mobile, latitude,
latitude,
to wait, tolerant,
tolerant,
cipher,
cipher,
lunatic,
lunatic,
casual,
casualty,
conscientious,
conscientious,
legacy,
legacy,
authentic,
authentic,
con,
con,
latitude, to wait, tolerant, cipher, lunatic, casual, conscientious, legacy, authentic, con, irrelevant,
irrelevant,
pest,
pest,
campaigner,
campaigner,
integral,
integral,
situate,
situate,
formidable,
formidable,
emergent,
emergent,
launder,
launder,
forefather,
forefather,
tranquil,
tranquil,
irrelevant, pest, campaigner, integral, situate, formidable, emergent, launder, forefather, tranquil, premium,
premium,
underwater,
underwater,
secrecy,
secrecy,
aspiration,
aspiration,
stellar,
stellar,
tilt,
tilt,
precision,
precision,
foresee,
foresee,
odyssey,
odyssey,
induce,
induce,
premium, underwater, secrecy, aspiration, stellar, tilt, precision, foresee, odyssey, induce, responsive,
responsive,
hall,
hall,
refurb it,
refurb it,
radiation,
radiation,
redundant,
redundant,
velocity,
velocity,
equilibrium,
equilibrium,
thaw,
thaw,
banter,
banter,
practitioner,
practitioner,
responsive, hall, refurb it, radiation, redundant, velocity, equilibrium, thaw, banter, practitioner, delicacy,
delicacy,
inconsistent,
inconsistent,
toll,
toll,
contradict,
contradict,
mound,
mound,
gratify,
gratify,
screening,
screening,
bibliography,
bibliography,
catalyst,
catalyst,
colonize,
colonize,
delicacy, inconsistent, toll, contradict, mound, gratify, screening, bibliography, catalyst, colonize, disability,
disability,
intricate,
intricate,
bypass,
bypass,
dioxide,
diox,
refrain,
refrain,
altitude,
altitude,
tangle,
entangle,
compensate,
compensate,
rotten,
rotten,
entrepreneur,
entrepreneur,
disability, intricate, bypass, dioxide, refrain, altitude, tangle, compensate, rotten, entrepreneur, equator,
equator,
rain,
rain,
moody,
moody,
alcohol,
alcoholism,
rouse,
rouse,
standardize,
standardize,
indulgent,
indulgent,
withstand,
withstand,
variant,
variant,
intrinsic,
intrinsic,
equator, rain, moody, alcohol, rouse, standardize, indulgent, withstand, variant, intrinsic, hideaway,
hideaway,
stereoscopic,
stereoscopic,
humpback whale,
humpback whale,
absorption,
absorption,
disdain,
disdain,
discredit,
discredit,
interact,
interact,
elixir,
elixir,
prehistoric,
prehistoric,
certified,
certif,
hideaway, stereoscopic, humpback whale, absorption, disdain, discredit, interact, elixir, prehistoric, certified, adorn,
adorn,
pendulum,
pendulum,
concede,
concede,
fluorescent,
fluorescent,
dilemma,
dilemma,
brochure,
brochure,
outrageous,
outrageous,
meaningful,
meaningful,
brisk,
brisk,
extravagant,
extravagant,
adorn, pendulum, concede, fluorescent, dilemma, brochure, outrageous, meaningful, brisk, extravagant, territorial,
territorial,
orderly,
orderly,
perplex,
perplex,
inscribe,
inscribe,
wind,
unwind,
facilitate,
facilitate,
contrive,
contrive,
mystify,
mystify,
genre,
genre,
eccentric,
eccentric,
territorial, orderly, perplex, inscribe, wind, facilitate, contrive, mystify, genre, eccentric, retrieve,
retrieve,
nominal,
nominal,
it,
populate,
weird,
weird,
notorious,
notorious,
side,
subside,
scrub,
scrub,
mastery,
mastery,
hazard,
hazard,
disillusion,
disillusion,
retrieve, nominal, it, weird, notorious, side, scrub, mastery, hazard, disillusion, fleeting,
fleeting,
vulnerable,
vulnerable,
canine,
canine,
willingness,
willingness,
lesson,
lesson,
prophecy,
prophecy,
gush,
gush,
reptile,
rapt,
erupt,
erupt,
captive,
captive,
fleeting, vulnerable, canine, willingness, lesson, prophecy, gush, reptile, erupt, captive, geology,
geology,
generality,
generality,
hiatus,
pious,
sprawl,
sprawl,
deploy,
deploy,
repository,
repository,
wag,
wag,
array,
array,
faction,
faction,
brood,
brood,
geology, generality, hiatus, sprawl, deploy, repository, wag, array, faction, brood, sanitation,
sanitation,
surcharge,
surcharge,
shellfish,
shellfish,
utterance,
utterance,
oblivious,
oblivious,
compressed,
compressed,
tickle,
tickle,
bully,
bully,
northward,
northward,
municipal, sanitation, surcharge, shellfish, utterance, oblivious, compressed, tickle, bully, northward, municipal, bumper,
bumper,
keenly,
keenly,
clerical,
clerical,
query,
query,
evenly,
evenly,
arouse,
arouse,
conserve,
conserve,
outgoing,
outgoing,
polar,
polar,
reunite,
reunite,
bumper, keenly, clerical, query, evenly, arouse, conserve, outgoing, polar, reunite, implication,
implication,
furnace,
furnace,
eventual,
eventual,
ancestry,
ancestry,
embrace,
embrace,
emit,
emit,
pollute,
pollute,
consolation,
consolation,
simplify,
simplify,
apprehensive,
apprehensive,
implication, furnace, eventual, ancestry, embrace, emit, pollute, consolation, simplify, apprehensive, impractical,
impractical,
alchemist,
alchemist,
transcribe,
transcribe,
gauge,
gauge,
escalate,
escalate,
maze,
maze,
anatomy,
anatomy,
homage,
homage,
staple,
staple,
peninsula,
peninsula,
impractical, alchemist, transcribe, gauge, escalate, maze, anatomy, homage, staple, peninsula, mischievous,
mischievous,
decouple,
decouple,
dealistic,
idealistic,
scarce,
scarce,
collision,
collision,
suffice,
suffice,
flip,
flip,
emphatic,
emphatic,
perpetual,
perpetual,
coalition,
coalition,
mischievous, decouple, dealistic, scarce, collision, suffice, flip, emphatic, perpetual, coalition, wheelbarrow,
wheelbarrow,
past, astrology,
astrology,
negligible,
negligible,
shrub,
shrub,
incidentally,
incidentally,
metabolism,
metabolism,
bureaucracy,
bureaucracy,
glaze,
glaze,
pretentious,
pretentious,
wheelbarrow, past, astrology, negligible, shrub, incidentally, metabolism, bureaucracy, glaze, pretentious, sovereign,
sovereign,
alternatively,
alternatively,
ingenious,
ingenious,
duplicate,
duplicate,
deficiency,
deficiency,
concession,
concession,
feat,
feat,
expend,
expend,
memorable,
memorable,
module,
module,
sovereign, alternatively, ingenious, duplicate, deficiency, concession, feat, expend, memorable, module, cripple,
cripple,
philosophical,
philosophical,
anti,
anti,
arctic,
arctic,
shrewd,
shrewd,
bishop,
bishop,
peg,
peg,
gifted,
gifted,
lunar,
lunar,
posture,
posture,
cripple, philosophical, anti, arctic, shrewd, bishop, peg, gifted, lunar, posture, allege,
allege,
census,
census,
scan,
scan,
linger,
linger,
personal,
impersonal,
toil,
toil,
mockery,
mockery,
pragmatic,
pragmatic,
static,
static,
durable,
durable,
allege, census, scan, linger, personal, toil, mockery, pragmatic, static, durable, surge,
surge,
encase,
encase,
provisional,
provisional,
operational,
operational,
incorporate,
incorporate,
pro,
pro,
slash,
slash,
ridicule,
ridicule,
indispensable,
indispensable,
disarm,
disarm,
surge, encase, provisional, operational, incorporate, pro, slash, ridicule, indispensable, disarm, intact,
intact,
devastate,
devastate,
axis,
axis,
toxic,
toxic,
surpass, pointless,
pointless,
disrupt,
disrupt,
pebble,
pebble,
efficacy,
efficacy, satire,
intact, devastate, axis, toxic, surpass, pointless, disrupt, pebble, efficacy, serial,
serial,
accordance,
accordance,
victimize,
victimize,
attachment,
attachment,
rumble,
rumble,
cater,
cater,
germ,
germ,
genesis,
Genesis.
disastrous,
Disastrous.
phobia,
Phobia.
serial, accordance, victimize, attachment, rumble, cater, germ, genesis, disastrous, phobia, exert,
Exert.
ambiguous,
Ambiguous.
endure, administer,
Administer.
proximate,
Proximate.
bounty,
Bounty.
patriotism,
Patriot.
infancy,
Infancy.
nationwide,
Nationwide.
pave,
Pave.
exert, ambiguous, endure, administer, proximate, bounty, patriotism, infancy, nationwide, pave, fury,
Fury.
tiresome,
Tiresome.
dispel,
Dispel.
merchandise,
Merchandise.
supervise,
Supervise.
drought,
Drought.
revelation,
Revelation.
beverage,
Beverage.
explicit,
Explicit.
rustic,
Rustic.
fury, tiresome, dispel, merchandise, supervise, drought, revelation, beverage, explicit, rustic, endorse,
Endorse.
friction,
Friction.
afflict,
Afflict.
underestimate,
Underestimate.
notwithstanding,
Notwithstanding.
invoice,
Invoice.
accentuate,
Accentuate.
linguistic,
Linguistics.
literal,
Literal.
amplify,
Amplify.
endorse, friction, afflict, underestimate, notwithstanding, invoice, accentuate, linguistic, literal, amplify, illuminate,
Illuminate.
dogmatic,
Dogmatic.
freight,
Freight.
ironic,
Ironic.
liberation,
Liberation.
hybrid,
Hybrid.
chatter,
Chatter.
statute,
Statute.
innate,
Innate.
anthropology,
Anthropology.
illuminate, dogmatic, freight, ironic, liberation, hybrid, chatter, statute, innate, anthropology, slump,
Slump.
intrude,
Intrude.
existent,
Exist.
disregard,
Disregard.
adolescent,
Adolescent.
harmonious,
Harmonious.
astounding,
Astounding.
nutrient,
Nutrient.
blur,
Blur.
specimen,
Specimen.
slump, intrude, existent, disregard, adolescent, harmonious, astounding, nutrient, blur, specimen, mercury,
Mercury.
finite,
Finite.
paramount,
Paramount.
differentiate,
Differentiate.
expressive,
expressive,
legitimate,
legitimate,
aspire,
aspire,
pulse,
pulse,
wreck,
wreck,
viscous,
viscous,
mercury, finite, paramount, differentiate, expressive, legitimate, aspire, pulse, wreck, viscous, rotate,
rotate,
glacier,
glacier,
superb,
superb,
linguistic,
linguistic,
vertical,
vertical,
inventive,
inventive,
imbalance,
imbalance,
intervene,
intervene,
stun,
stun,
strand,
strand,
rotate, glacier, superb, linguistic, vertical, inventive, imbalance, intervene, stun, strand, glare,
glare,
divert,
divert,
filling,
filling,
decry,
decry,
venue,
venue,
merge,
merge,
brink,
brink,
stout,
stout,
tedious,
tedious,
twig,
twig,
glare, divert, filling, decry, venue, merge, brink, stout, tedious, twig, stationary,
stationary,
haven,
haven,
speculate,
speculate,
clarify,
clarify,
manifestation,
manifestation,
slop,
slop,
eloquent,
eloquent,
aesthetic,
aesthetic,
predecessor,
predecessor,
charcoal,
charcoal,
stationary, haven, speculate, clarify, manifestation, slop, eloquent, aesthetic, predecessor, charcoal, subsid,
subsidy,
armory,
armory,
cylindrical,
cylindrical,
bait,
bait,
ring,
ring,
defective,
defective,
questionnaire,
questionnaire,
migrate,
migrate,
abnormal,
abnormal,
gender,
gender,
subsid, armory, cylindrical, bait, ring, defective, questionnaire, migrate, abnormal, gender, indulge,
indulge,
rebellious,
rebellious,
clutch,
clutch,
skeleton,
skeleton,
integrate,
integrate,
cosmopolitan,
cosmopolitan,
shudder,
shudder,
coins,
inside,
commonplace,
commonplace,
autonomy,
autonomy,
indulge, rebellious, clutch, skeleton, integrate, cosmopolitan, shudder, coins, commonplace, autonomy, theology,
archaeology,
postulate,
postulate,
intolerance,
intolerance,
decimal,
decimal,
coherent,
coherent,
rash,
rash,
shove,
shove,
inflammable,
inflammable,
hygiene,
hygiene,
manipulate,
manipulate,
theology, postulate, intolerant, decimal, coherent, rash, shove, inflammable, hygiene, manipulate, mimic,
mimic,
dissolution,
dissolution,
mirage,
mirage,
incomplete,
incomplete,
foresight,
foresight, maritime,
stammer,
stammer,
desolate,
desolate,
drowsy,
drowsy,
runway,
runway,
mimic, dissolution, mirage, incomplete, foresight, stammer, desolate, drowsy, runway, freshwater,
freshwater,
crust,
crust,
breakthrough,
breakthrough,
adverse,
advert,
nurture,
nurture,
cumbersome,
cumbersome,
embark,
embark,
dramatist,
dramatist,
malignant,
malignant,
mar,
mar,
freshwater, crust, breakthrough, adverse, nurture, cumbersome, embark, dramatist, malignant, mar, atmospheric,
atmospheric,
supportive,
supportive,
designate,
designate,
toe,
toe,
literacy,
literacy,
relic,
relic,
disorderly,
disorderly,
wholesome,
wholesome,
substantially,
substantially,
domesticate,
domesticate,
atmospheric, supportive, designate, toe, literacy, relic, disorderly, wholesome, substantially, domesticate, potent,
potent,
salvage,
salvage,
spacious,
spacious,
runny,
runny,
kaleidoscope,
kaleidoscope,
core,
core,
negligent,
negligent,
curator,
curator,
rim,
rim,
habitat,
habitat,
potent, salvage, spacious, runny, kaleidoscope, core, negligent, curator, rim, habitat, integrity,
integrity,
skeptic,
skeptic,
confer,
confer,
intractable,
intractable,
dialect,
dialect,
tuition,
tuition,
indignant,
indignant,
confide,
confide,
detach,
attach,
stature,
stature,
integrity, skeptic, confer, intractable, dialect, tuition, indignant, confide, detach, stature,